Kawhi Leonard fraud scandal is much more serious than NBA fans might realize. Now, the Clippers have denied everything here, but if Pablo Torre's reporting is accurate and the Clippers really did set up Kawhi to be paid $28 million through a phantom marketing deal with a tree planting company, then Steve Ballmer and the Clippers are about to get the death penalty. Now, anyone who listened to Pablo's full episode is going to have a very hard time imagining a world where the Clippers aren't guilty. I'm sure the NBA will announce an investigation shortly, but we have seen this before.
Okay, so here's my problem with this whole Kawhi Leonard situation, the allegations that are happening, the reporting that came out by Pablo Torres, and just everything that has came to light in the past 24 to 48 hours is I think there's a lot of assumptions being made with lack of evidence, lack of knowledge. Now, I know Pablo Torres went into detail around what happened. I think he actually just did a podcast episode with Mark Cuban today talking more about it. Cuban shed light on some things that he knew to be true, his relationship with Steve Ballmer, that whole thing. And I think Cuban came at it from a perspective of why he didn't think it was likely for all this stuff to happen, and how, in large part, still that Torres's allegations didn't have a ton of fact behind them. Sure, you could point to some things in regards to the company's shadiness, but to be fair, a lot of that stuff has already came to light. They were on trial for scamming investors out of north of $200 million or something insane, right? So it was a fraudulent company, to say the least. And as of now, Ballmer doesn't have any ties to it as like a shareholder or somebody who funded this company. They were no more than just a sponsor to the Clippers organization, and then supposedly to Kawhi Leonard as well. And the reason I say supposedly is because I'm not sure if Kawhi Leonard actually ever got paid by this company due to the fraudulent activities, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, but now that I set it up, a few of the issues that I'm having surrounding this whole thing. One is the assumptions, which I alluded to earlier, right? People are making a lot of assumptions without knowing all of the details. We are better off waiting until more things come to light so we can make a well-educated and articulated opinion about the situation. Two is the idea that the NBA has not known what has been happening with this affirmation company, and all that has came to light in the past 2 days for us has probably been well known, well documented from the NBA over the past few months. I would assume. I don't think Pablo Torres is some amazing investigator who is doing more than the NBA has done and is doing at getting to the root of these issues well before they come to light and come to the surface. So can we just put that there? I have it on good faith, and I would imagine, just based on the NBA's track record in dealing with some of these things, issues that they've had in the past, dating well back to when David Stern was commissioner, all the way through now when we have Adam Silver. They are very good at handling these situations and knowing what is going on. So the idea that this is the first that they are hearing about it just is outright ridiculous to me. And three, and lastly, I don't really care, to be honest with you. I don't really care. Now, if it does turn out to be true and the Clippers were doing things to get unfair advantages, one, clearly it was not unfair because they still haven't won anything, if I could be honest with you guys. And two, right, like I'm sure other teams have done things to a certain extent as well, kind of fudging the numbers or kind of making promises that become a little dicey, right? Like promising access to private planes or promising endorsement deals and stuff like that. Now, I do think, to have a well-balanced league, to have a league that is fair for all teams, whether you're in a small market, large market, there does need to be rules, there does need to be parameters. So I don't want you guys to think that I'm saying ignore the rules, ignore the parameters. But I just think, right, like we haven't seen evidence of the Clippers having an unfair advantage in the slightest, right? So it's hard for me to believe that all this stuff is true, and that I would imagine if they're doing it for Kawhi, they would have done it for other guys in some capacities, probably less, to a lesser degree, right? Because Kawhi is Kawhi, right? And when they got Kawhi in 2019, he is at the pinnacle of basketball, having an historic season and a historic run for a franchise who has never won a championship, right? But I would imagine if they're doing this for him, they're doing it to lesser degrees for other guys as well. That's just my opinion. So So I say all this to say I think we wait for everything to come to light so we can make a well-educated, well-articulated opinion on the matter. Two, I think the NBA has already known about this. They've probably already been looking into it, looking into this specific tree company, doing their research, doing their due diligence. I know Steve Ballmer and the Clippers organization has a came out with a statement saying that this is absolutely ridiculous and just essentially denying all the rumors. So we just got to wait and see. And then lastly, right, they clearly haven't gotten any advantage, right? They are no better off than when Steve Ballmer took over as the owner of the franchise. I know they have new arenas, all that sort of stuff, but point being, right, like they didn't do this and all of a sudden win a championship, right? They didn't do this and all of a sudden make it to the conference championship every year, right? They've been a playoff team and that's it. So I think we can just rein it in a little bit. I think it'll be okay. I think the NBA has already been digging into this thing. And if it does come to light, you best believe that the NBA is going to penalize them for it. A franchise that is already coming off of their last owner, whose name escapes me off the top of my head, a franchise who's been through the thick of it. You know what I'm saying? They got a new arena coming open, all this sort of stuff. I would doubt that with all the money that Ballmer has invested into the Clippers organization, that he would be dumb enough to do something that could be so easily tracked and cited back to him, cited back to Kawhi, and put his investment at risk. A guy worth that much money, all that sort of stuff. So it's dicey to me. It's dicey to me. I think we just need to wait it out. Now, if it does come to light that he indeed, tried to do something to have an advantage on the rest of the NBA, broke some rules, Kawhi as well, I think the Clippers organization will be punished, and they should be punished. And I think Kawhi will be punished, and he should be punished. And then we'll just go on about it. But in terms of me like caring, I don't care because they didn't unfairly win a championship. They didn't unfairly make it to deep consecutive playoff runs and have all the success when other teams could have had it. They didn't take away opportunity from any other teams. So as of now, it's just one of those things. And I think some of this stuff is a little bit overblown. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Peace.